Some people don't fit in, not because they're broken, but because they see too far. Every generation carries these people, the ones who feel too deeply, think too differently, and walk through life sensing what others can't even name. If that sounds like you, it's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. A very old one, older than civilization itself. You're not odd, you're early. Chapter 1, the visionary pattern. Visionaries all follow the same trajectory, almost like a blueprint repeating across time. As children, they're too sensitive. They ask the questions adults avoid. They stare into space as if listening to something beyond the room. They feel the unspoken emotions of their parents, the hidden anxieties of their friends. They might be called daydreamers, but they aren't just dreaming. They're processing a world that feels overwhelmingly vibrant and complex. They notice the tiny details everyone else misses, the way light hits a leaf, the subtle shift in someone's tone of voice, the hypocrisy in the rules they're told to follow. This isn't just curiosity, it's an innate drive to understand the fundamental mechanics of reality. As teenagers, they become too intense, too curious, too aware of hypocrisy. The world's inconsistencies are not just annoying, they are a source of profound frustration. They see through the masks that everyone else accepts as normal. They question the social games, the popularity contests, the prescribed paths of school, career, and life. This often makes them rebels, not out of a desire for chaos, but out of a desperate need for authenticity. While their peers are trying to fit in, they are trying to figure things out. This can lead to feeling like an outsider, misunderstood by family, teachers, and even friends who are content with the surface level of life. The visionary teenager feels a deep, gnawing sense that there must be something more. And as adults, they're too different, too ambitious, too much. They don't just want a job, they want a mission. They don't just want a relationship, they want a soul connection. Their standards aren't high because they're arrogant. They're high because they can sense the potential for what could be, and they refuse to settle for less. They might start businesses, create art, or pursue knowledge with a relentless passion that others find exhausting. People might tell them to relax or be realistic. But for the visionary, settling for a mundane life feels like a slow death. But here's the twist. These aren't flaws. They're signals. Signals that the mind is operating at a higher bandwidth, absorbing more information, questioning deeper truths, and refusing the sleepwalk routine the world calls normal life. It's like having a high-definition sensor in a standard-definition world. You're picking up more data, more nuance, more emotional undercurrents, while others see a simple conversation. You see a complex dance of power, fear, and desire. Some people survive reality. Visionaries decode it. This brings us to a painful, often misunderstood part of the journey. Chapter 2. Why visionaries end up alone. It's not because they're meant to be lonely. It's because people fear what they don't understand. When you see patterns in human behavior that others miss, when you sense lies without any evidence, when you connect dots that others don't even notice, you inevitably start to operate on a different frequency. You stop belonging to the group. You start belonging to truth. And truth, in its raw, unfiltered form, isolates. When you speak the truth about a dysfunctional family dynamic, you become the problem. When you point out the flaws in a company's strategy, you become the troublemaker. When you refuse to participate in gossip, you become the outsider. You don't lose people, you lose illusions. You lose the noise of meaningless chatter. You lose the heavy burden of wearing masks. You lose the exhausting comfort of pretending everything is okay when it's not. What remains when all that falls away is you, the real you, the one buried under years of social conditioning, politeness, expectations, and inherited fears, the person you were before the world told you who you should be. So, visionaries walk alone not because they are unwanted, but because very few can meet them at the depth where they truly live. It takes immense courage to stand in your own truth, especially when the world is pressuring you to conform. The loneliness you feel is not a sign of failure. It is the space you've created for something real to grow. Chapter 3, the emotional curse. Feeling too much isn't a weakness, it's data. For a visionary, emotions are not random, chaotic events. They are a highly sophisticated guidance system. Pain becomes information, pointing to where you are out of alignment with your own values. Loneliness becomes clarity, forcing you to get to know yourself on a profound level. Silence becomes revelation, allowing you to hear your own inner wisdom without the distraction of the outside world. Your emotions are like antennas, picking up signals most people are deaf to. You feel the tension in a room before anyone even speaks. You sense betrayal brewing long before it happens. You know when someone's soul is tired, even if they are smiling and saying everything is fine. You feel the collective anxiety of the world, the quiet suffering of strangers, the joy and pain that flow beneath the surface of everyday life. People often mistake this emotional sensitivity for fragility. They see it as a liability, something to be managed or suppressed. But it's the exact opposite. It's hyper-awareness. It's a superpower. The world is loud, chaotic, and relentlessly superficial. And yet, you can still hear the truth humming beneath all that noise. That is an incredibly rare ability, and for some people, it is terrifying. They are not ready to face the truths you so easily perceive, so they may label you as too emotional or dramatic as a way to protect their own comfortable reality. But within this so-called cursed lies we can find a chapter for the hidden gift. The very same intensity that sometimes feels like it will break you is the same intensity that builds empires, creates movements, and rewrites the rules of our world. Visionaries are the architects of the future. Why? Because they don't passively accept life as it is. They question everything. They notice the inefficiencies, the injustices, the outdated systems that others ignore. They refuse to follow the script that society hands them at birth. Think about it. Every major leap forward in human history, from scientific breakthroughs to social revolutions, began with someone who was uncomfortable with the status quo. Transformation always begins with discomfort. And you, with your deep sensitivity, your profound depth, your inner storms of thought and emotion, you carry the raw material of transformation within you. The things you thought were your greatest weaknesses, your sensitivity, your intensity, your inability to just go with the flow, are actually the source of your greatest strength. This is not a curse. It's the price of evolution. It's the engine of progress. If you have ever felt like the outsider, the black sheep, the one who sees too much and feels too deeply, there is a reason, and it goes deeper than you think. Part 2 begins now. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and you're definitely not broken. This is for you. Chapter 5, You Were Built in Silence. Think about it. Visionaries aren't born in the middle of a noisy party. They're forged in silence. Those times in your life when you felt isolated, rejected, maybe even confused or sad, those weren't random accidents. They were calibration phases. Life was doing you a favor. When people you thought you needed suddenly disappeared from your life, it wasn't a punishment. It was a process of refinement. The universe was clearing the stage, stripping away all the distractions, all the noise, so you could finally hear your own voice, your own truth. So many people go through their entire lives without ever experiencing that kind of clarity. But you did. That silence wasn't emptiness. It was your training ground. It was the classroom where your true self was the only subject on the curriculum. It's where you learned to listen to the signal, not the static. That quiet period wasn't a setback. It was the foundation being laid for everything that was to come. Now, let's get real about what it feels like to be a visionary on the inside, because it's not all eureka moments and confident strides into the future. Chapter 6, The Visionary's Internal War. Inside every single person who sees things differently, there's a war going on. It's a constant battle between two powerful forces. On one side, you have the part of you that sees the future, that glimpses the incredible possibilities, the world as it could be. And on the other side, you have the part of you that's still human, that carries all the normal human fears: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. The world around you is constantly sending messages. It tells you to shrink, to play it safe, to fit into a neat little box. But your soul, that deep inner knowing, is screaming at you to expand, to grow, to take up space. The world wants you to be predictable, to follow the well-trodden path. But your mind, your visionary mind, wants to disrupt the status quo, to create a new path altogether. The world tells you that belonging to the crowd is the ultimate goal, but your purpose, your true calling, lives way outside the comfort of the crowd. This internal conflict, this constant push and pull, it's not a sign that you're lost or doing something wrong. In fact, it's the opposite. It's proof that you are evolving. It's the friction that creates the spark of genius. Greatness doesn't show up feeling like unshakable confidence right from the start. No, at first, it feels like tension. It feels like immense pressure. It feels like a mountain of doubt. So if you feel this war raging inside you, if you feel that tension every single day, congratulations. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. You're on the front lines of your own evolution. So, why is this struggle even necessary? Chapter 7. Why the world needs visionaries. The answer is simple: progress. Civilizations only move forward because of the people who refuse to accept the current reality as the only reality. Empires are built by the ones who look at the existing blueprint and say, I can do better. Revolutions, big and small, are started by those brave enough to see beyond what is and into what could be. You need to understand this. You are not meant to simply adapt to the world as it is. You are here to upgrade it. Without minds like yours, minds that question and challenge, humanity stagnates. We just repeat the same patterns, the same mistakes, over and over again. Society starts to decay when there's no one left to question the way things are done. Culture collapses when everyone accepts the dominant narrative without a second thought. Your difference, that thing that makes you feel separate from the crowd, is not a defect. It's not something to be fixed or hidden. It is your greatest contribution. It's a necessary one. You are the immune system of humanity, spotting the illnesses in our collective thinking and offering a cure. You are the architect of tomorrow, sketching out new possibilities while everyone else is still living in yesterday's house. Don't ever let anyone make you feel ashamed of your unique perspective. It's the most valuable thing you have. Chapter 8. The Real Curse. Now, people often think the curse of the visionary is being lonely, or overly sensitive, or thinking too deeply. And sure, those things can be part of the package. But the real curse, the true weight that you carry, is something else entirely. It's this: you see the incredible, breathtaking possibilities that other people are simply too afraid to even look at, let alone pursue. You have a clear vision of what you could become, the impact you could have, the change you could create. But with that vision comes the crushing weight of that potential. And let me tell you, potential is heavy. It's not a gentle suggestion. It's a relentless force. It pushes you when you want to rest. It haunts you in your moments of doubt. It's the voice that wakes you up in the middle of the night, your mind racing with ideas. It's the silent companion that follows you everywhere, reminding you of the gap between where you are and where you know you could be. Most people will go through their entire lives and never truly meet their future selves, the ultimate version of who they could be. But visionaries, we meet them way too early. And once you have seen that person, once you've had a glimpse of who you are capable of becoming, there is no going back. You can never again be content with playing small. You can never unsee that vision. That's the real weight you carry. It's a beautiful, terrifying, and inescapable burden. Conclusion. Welcome to Beyond Human. So, if you've spent your life feeling like the world was just too small for you, like you were wearing clothes that were 3 sizes too tight, it's because it is. The world, as it's currently constructed, was not built for you. And that's a good thing. You weren't built for a life of comfort and quiet conformity. You were built for impact. You were built for disruption. You were built to be a beacon of truth in a world that often prefers comfortable lies. That feeling you've had your whole life, that sense of being different, it's not a curse. You are chosen. You are psychologically, spiritually, and evolutionarily selected for a different kind of task. You have the rare ability to see the world not just for what it is right now, but for the magnificent thing it could be. Most people live their entire lives inside the illusion, the matrix of social norms and limited beliefs. You live outside of it. You are the observer, the dreamer, the creator. And now, right now, your real life begins. The training is over. The confusion has served its purpose. It's time to embrace who you are. It's time to step into your power and own your vision. Welcome to the few who see what others don't. Welcome to the ones who build the future. Welcome to Beyond Human. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Until next time, keep seeing what others don't.